Hello and welcome, race fans. I am your host, Stinky Wan, and I'm joined by co commentator, middle name Orion, for what promises to be an unforgettable race at the Circuit of the Americas, home of the United States Grand Prix.
As we approach the second to last round of the Champions Series in the Champions Division, the pressure is on for our top drivers and teams. Defending champion Limp is facing an uphill battle after falling behind in the standings, with veteran driver Miller currently holding a slim lead of just 6 points. But the competition is fierce, with both Luke and Jonas poised to make a run for the top spot. With so much talent on display, every lap and turn will be critical in determining the outcome of the race. So buckle up. Get ready for an action-packed race from the electric atmosphere of the grandstands to the pulse-pounding excitement on the track. There's nothing quite like the United States Grand Prix, and we can't wait to see who comes out on top.
I hope it caught all of that because I forgot to do this.
We'll see.
We will see. I'm just going to message you tomorrow, like at 4 a.m., being like, oh, we need to do it over. And you're going to be like, no. Either way, we're back. We're here. It should be okay now. Let's just double check the threshold really fast, and then we'll continue with everything. Let's just pull that. Let's just pull this down a bit, just to make sure. Sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry. All right. So now that we're looking at it, the Constructors Championship has gotten a little bit bigger because both Limp and Lannon ended up taking after race penalties.
Yeah, certainly. Not something I expected the last time I looked at the standings, but you know what? Stuff happens, and this is why we have the ability to look at things after, because things that might have been missed can be assessed, hopefully properly handled, and then we can start our next race fresh and with a surety that everything is as it should be.
Yep.
We're going to be going into today's race, like we said earlier. Currently, 6 points separates our leaders, Miller and Limp, you can see in the standings, followed by Jonas, Luke, and then Lannon. We have right now our driver comparison between our two leaders. You can see Limp and Miller, that 6 point separation, both now with 5 wins as of last race. That has come into a dead tie there. Podiums, 8 for Limp, 9 for Miller. Both again tied with 4 fastest laps. Limp has managed to take 6 polling positions, whereas Miller has 3. But that one DNF there for Limp is, I think, really the thing that's causing that 6 point gap in the opposite direction of the way I think he hopes it would be.
Yeah. I think definitely the DNF hurt him a bit on points. And then that you could see with the one less podium, which kind of goes with that whole DNF thing, right? Where it makes a difference. But we can see that both Limp and Miller aren't perfect with podiums. So they both have found themselves outside of the podium's positions. With Miller just one time and Limp with it twice.
Yeah, and I believe we mentioned earlier, Jonas and Luke have had the ability to play spoiler. Other racers have definitely the ability to play spoiler in these we see generally as a contention between two drivers at the top of the point totals. But you know what? Things happen, and we might see a race where we get a whole new top 3.
That would be fun. We did have our first podium for Kumar.
Certainly.
Because of the penalties. So that's the second driver to have gotten a podium after penalties. So that all important, like, even though you might be like 16 seconds behind another driver,
certainly
just continue to push,
Yeah.
Because you never know how much of a gap you need to make up.
I think that really speaks to what's in the head of these drivers as they're coming around, finding the final laps and thinking to themselves, here are the things that maybe I should have done to find myself in a better position. I was hoping that as well as I performed today, that I would perform even a little better. I know I have it in me, but when it comes to the competition itself and where things land, you can never really be sure until after everything is said and done. And a decent amount of time has went by, enough to look at everything that might have happened that you didn't have eyes on, and maybe you ended up in a better position than you thought yourself in coming into that, finish. I think it's going to be interesting. We have McLaren and Ferrari at the top currently of our constructor standings, separated by 41 points. Not as small of a gap, I believe, as we had last time in constructors.
No, because of those penalties.
Because of the penalties after.
Yeah.
Especially because we were assuming.
We were expecting it to be
really,
very
really
close. I think it was going to be tied, and then I believe it was either 16 or 18.
Yeah, but even in all honesty,
it was really low.
Even 41 points can be made up.
We have
like that.
We have this race where you can get 25 and 18 if you get 1-2s. You can even get the extra bonus point for fastest lap.
Certainly.
And then we're going into a sprint as our finale, which would be you get, I think, 34 and I can't do quick math. It's something like 28.
We'll clarify the exact.
It's a lot of
later
points.
On.
There's a lot of points still up.
Yes, math is not our strong suit, which is why we're here commentating.
Definitely, and I think with that, even if with it at 40, it's still a reachable goal. And I think this is where the McLaren team, if they could they don't even have to win. They just have to be there.
They have to protect their point
close
total.
to it at the top.
Certainly.
And I think that will help them going into the final race, because even if they can't secure it today, the bigger your gap is, the
exactly. And sometimes
variation you can have.
Yeah, sometimes the best defense is just securing the gap that you have and making sure the entirety of it is not overcome by another team. Sometimes it's not about, once you've taken the lead, having the best performance from then on. It's just about having a good enough performance to kind of protect what you've already gained.
For sure. Yeah.
It's going to be a fun race, though, in Austin.
So before we go into the race, let's actually look at the track. Certainly. So it's 20 corners. It has 2 DRS zones, one on the front straight and one on the back, as we can see here, with the speed trap right on the second DRS zone at the end of, or beginning of turn 12.
Okay, and for those of you wondering out there, it's not just a line of bananas. Just to clear up any confusion, the speed trap, it's not a line of bananas. Mario Kart.
I never thought of that as the speed trap is the...
Wouldn't be a bad motto.
The boxes. Oh my gosh. It's actually a pretty long track, with it being 5.5 kilometers long. I think it does relatively the same lap times. Yeah. It's like around a 130-ish, similar to Singapore, but it's a much longer track.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the layout, you can see those straightaways. And I mean, I think it's going to lead to a different style of racing. Last time, I feel like we saw some safety amongst the mindsets of the drivers. Lots of contention, lots of turns. There's a lot of straightaways here.
There's 2 really good straightaways. There's a lot of high speed cornering and mid speed cornering, with a few weird. There's a few awkward corners here where it has weird camber and all that. So it's one of those tracks where I think if you put a little bit more downforce, it's not going to hurt you, and if you put a little bit less downforce, it won't hurt you.
That's true.
It's more of a driver's preference at that point, where I think both directions can work on this track.
Yeah, a little camber never hurt. It's when you get too much camber that your doctor, says, "Well, slow down."
And you too much. Yes. Let's see how the grid is going. It looks like they're still getting a few drivers in. Hopefully, we can get a few more drivers as we get closer to.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some more people in here. Everybody likes to see a field that's completely filled.
Oh yes, of course. I think that would it. I think it helps and hurts both of the teams at the top.
Oh, certainly.
But I don't think they would prefer to have, obviously, a full grid, regardless. just because it's going to be more fun. It actually can help you if you're the team that does well on like the race start and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you get that extra gap if there are more drivers.
Well, and when you finish the race, whatever position you might be in, if that ends up being towards the top, you can always have that little bit extra confidence knowing that you did it, in a full field.
Yeah. And we saw
more competitors.
We saw in the last I was here for the race before the Legends one. And you could see that this track allows you to follow really well through most of the corners, which I think as long as they don't make mistakes. So mistakes are going to be crucial here because when a track is easy to follow another driver in, you end up with like trains of about 5 drivers or so. So if you make a mistake, you lose like 4 positions. I think that'll be crucial. So mistakes, I think that should be our key here in the United States.
Yeah, we'll write that on our whiteboard.
Yeah, mistakes. I think the mistakes will, if you can avoid mistakes, you should be able to end in a really high position.
Yeah.
Just naturally, because I think some drivers are going to make mistakes. This is a very easy track to do it on because there's a lot of high speed switchbacks. So going from left to right.
Yeah.
So you'll get a lot of drivers that end up having a mistake. And if you can limit
that never causes good things out on the track.
We did see that the track limits aren't too bad here either. I think most of the drivers had 0 to maybe getting a 3-second penalty. So that would be a good thing to keep an eye on. I think if you get a 6, that's when you get worried because the odds of a driver around you getting 6 is going to be lower.
Yeah.
So it's actually going to hurt you.
We saw a little bit of that in Singapore too towards the end of the race.
We did see that in Singapore.
Very low penalty totals overall, but a few people I believe ended up at 6, and that really affected them, or at least came very close to affecting their position at the end of that race.
Definitely.
And it definitely affected how the teams raced, because we saw in Singapore, it'll be interesting to see what happens today, but in Singapore we saw a lot of teamwork out on the course.
Yeah.
And saw some really impressive driving subsequently. I mean, it was a really fun thing to be able to watch. Not only good racing, but good racing with awareness of your team as well as what your teammate was facing with the other people right around them as well. But I think we are going to be off to Texas shortly here.
We are.
It's a very quick flight on our virtual concord here. Extremely quick.
It's a long trip. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's true. Yeah, we're hiding it, but we've been flying in the air for hours to get there. They say everything's bigger in Texas. I've only been there once, and I did see a really big bug, so maybe that's proof. But other than that, I can't attest to the theory. You see qualifying starting here. It should be soon. Everyone is in the pit right now, but we should see some people on outlaps soon, and then getting in some times, finding themselves in prime position to start the main event. I think it'll be interesting again to see people's qualifying strategies. Usually, you'll see some people kind of hang back a little bit and put in a few laps, maybe call it good enough, stop. In Singapore, I don't believe that was the case. Most of our drivers ended up getting out fairly quickly and then maintaining that until they were forced off the track by time limits ending. Constantly looking in to put a better time, getting some more practice. Always a good thing to do right before you put in your laps for the main event. Right. In just a moment here, in fact, we can see right now we're going to be taking a look at some of our drivers on an out lap. You can see Kumar out there, the driver we spoke about earlier, who ended up finding himself on the podium. The interesting race today. We saw some really quality racing out of Kumar last race, so we'll be definitely checking in on him throughout the race to see if he manages to maintain that as well for Austin. Right now, we're looking at Renzo on an out lap. Renzo's Yeah.
Blinding lights.
Yeah, Renzo is experiencing what we're all experiencing, which is a need for sunglasses, possibly.
Maybe. He might not be running all the settings up high, because...
Yeah, we're really trying to simulate that bright Texas sun.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe a cowboy hat. Maybe that would. You think the brim would help? We can get one that will stay on our racers.
I will say it was pretty hot in Texas.
Tends to happen.
Yeah, when I went.
Yeah.
But I got to be in a nice little cozy air-conditioned area, so...
Always good. Yeah. So now we can see all of our drivers are out there.
Oh yeah, they're all out there.
Everyone's getting that early start. Good to see that. Very reminiscent of Singapore.
I think now with the Ferrari team of Limp and Renzo back together, hopefully we'll see a little bit better outcomes than what they've had in their last two races. I don't think they've gone their way how they've wanted it to, and I think they've lost a few points that they shouldn't have.
Yeah, well, that's a team I'm never going to count out of things.
They're doing a really good job at being Ferrari of the real.
Yeah.
They're doing a really good job at it.
I mean, you know what they're feeling.
They're actually doing better, though, because the Ferrari of the real doesn't even do this well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, boom, there you go. Don't make that case to Ferrari, otherwise we'll lose our drivers.
Yeah.
They'll steal them.
They'll steal our drivers. Oh, here he comes. He's coming up to a back marker. Hopefully he won't get in the way. Wow, you cannot see through this corner.
I mean, that's just going to really fall into what you were talking about earlier with those mistakes. I think, anytime vision ends up being impaired is never
there we go.
Thing.
That was a good Ferrari thing. Nice little pull through the back straight. It's going to give him a decent lap here. Let's go to the timing tables. And we see there through Sector 2 actually has the fastest lap, or the fastest sector, but we'll see if Miller will be able to beat that. He's on a fast lap as well.
Yeah.
With the purple first sector.
And I think,
Holt puts the provisional fastest lap of 138.255.
Everyone out there on softs looking to really get the most out of these straightaways. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes as people put in more laps and warm up those tires, and we just see faster and faster laps posted. You can see Renzo with a 133.8 manages to overtake both Hulk and Kumar who put in a 134.6. I don't think any of those times are going to stand for the entirety of qualifying as fastest as people get more used to the track.
I think that 133, that's a good first time.
That it is.
133.8.
I mean, it's always good to get a good first lap out there early in qualifying. It's kind of like a challenge for the rest of the competitors, being like, hey, beat this,
Oh, he invalidated. When did he do that? Either way, so we did have Luke going into P2 with the 134.532. We had Pang going into 4th with the 135.656. We had Hill doing a 135.942 and Alex doing a 135.963.
Always good to see the field that has a time right now all be within such close proximity to each other, on these qualifying laps. You never want to see a lot of gapping throughout qualifying in terms of the time they managed to put in.
Did you just see that? They just did, so Limp pulled Renzo for his hot lap, and then Renzo just pulled Limp, so it's looking good. That's some good coordination. Let's hopefully it goes into the race.
Good teamwork.
Yeah, I think they've been practicing. They really want, the deficit from the constructors is getting too big, I think, and they really need to do well here. Limp going fast at 133.008, almost gets 132.
Ooh. Very close. Still good enough to move into first.
That is crazy fast.
I think we're just going to see some more of that.
I think everybody is just going to be doing in laps.
Yep, you can see everybody out there with the time right now. Miller looking to put in first time after coming into the pits, most likely.
So I understand why all of the drivers went out at the same time, because they're trying to reach this amount of laps for the amount of time.
Certainly.
But as a spectator, it sucks because we're trying to rush through all these drivers, and now we're gonna be just sitting here waiting for them to go back out there again, and they're gonna do it all together again.
That's true. Well, you know what? It certainly means that we'll get periods of extreme excitement, which I'm always up for.
I like that.
Yeah.
Extreme excitement.
Right now, you know, we're taking a look at that Ferrari team again as we move through the field. You can see now
Kumar already coming back out onto that lap, so
yeah.
I think he's part of the initial group. Him and Hulk.
Yeah. Speaking of Hulk, now also on the outlap.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've all kind of, and it seems really good, the spacing of all the drivers when they came out. So
certainly,
I think if they keep that same method, we should get to see most of the drivers.
Yeah, the word that comes to mind is professionalism.
Yeah, I like that.
Quality.
You know, respect. It's like track etiquette, right?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, track etiquette. It's unspoken. It's like just, you know, give each other some space.
It might be coincidental, but we're going to pretend it's that. At least that's what we're going to start today.
And it's etiquette until
it's not.
Until it's not.
Certainly.
We see that in real F1.
Yeah.
They'll all be very respectful of each other's laps until it's like 2 minutes left and they all want to get the best position on track and they're just, it gets crazy.
It's understandable.
Oh man.
Right now
it's really realistic time. Yes, it is. Do they really qualify at 4?
I mean,
I should know this.
You want to get the full Texas experience.
Because I was there. I think it was this late. I can't remember. It was a year ago, almost. It wasn't a year ago.
It wasn't
Not at all.
Right now, we're taking a look at
Kumar on his fast lap.
On his fastest
Or
lap.
fast lap. Could be his fastest lap. We'll find out.
That we will.
Because we have the drivers coming out.
See as Kumar
goes through the S's.
Right through here. Still in the first half of the lap here.
Yep.
Gonna be coming up on a pretty sharp turn here on 11, and then going for the longest straightaway.
I'm surprised that these corners don't have names.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm always up to name them.
Americans love naming stuff, so
yeah.
I'm surprised.
That's how I know I'm American. It's a really big problem though, because like whenever I eat Cheetos, I have to name each one.
Oh no.
Yeah, I start to get attached. It's terrible, and then of course later I find myself glancing down at the orange remnants on my fingers, and I feel bad because I remember the friends who I've lost along the way.
But they're from you.
Yeah, it's fine. That's a super American thing, you know. We did it. We still feel sad afterwards. It's usually our fault. Right now we're again taking a look at Kumar, but Kumar is about ready to put in a time. We'll see what that ends up being.
And he comes across the line, improves 133.947.
So
this
fast.
It's pretty good.
So close to overtaking Renzo in that 2 spot. Only a little over a tenth of a second away.
Let's see if we have any drivers. It looks like Penny's on a hot lap, but he hasn't done a sector 1 yet. Gone through it yet.
We will very shortly here.
Should have now. It's taking a bit of time. It's on sector 2. Might just be a little delayed.
Certainly, and
sometimes the timing table.
The most important part is that it's not invalidated.
That is important. He's not invalidated a lot.
Sometimes it's about consistency, even if you're not going to beat your time, and you're not going to beat your time every single lap. But at least not invalidating your lap, you know, gives you a little bit more confidence that you'll have a better chance in the next one. Ooh, you see,
I was just about to switch over to him.
Person, Miller, our points leader currently, overtaking that 32 gap there, that 132. We got it, 895. 132.895. Here comes Pan, comes across the line, does a
34.999. So goes faster, gets himself. I think he was in 6th already.
Yeah,
but
he was in 7th, I believe.
oh, he was in 7th. Okay.
Either that or that was the view indicator switching.
All right,
I think I saw his name
Limp
jump.
is actually on a hot lap? Question mark?
I don't think he's on a question mark. I feel like I'd see that.
It's there. You can't see because the sun's in the way.
Oh, that's what it is. My lack of sunglasses. Or a cowboy hat.
Or yeah. Or horse.
That's true. Lots of horsepower, no horses. Feeling very, if I had to choose a word to describe today, I would say yeehaw.
Did you know horses can have more than, or tend to have more than 1 horsepower? They have multiple horsepower.
That's because there's one really weak horse in France. It's like a field in France, and they put him on a pedestal because he's the horse that's like holding everybody back.
And Limp goes faster, the 132.783, trying to hold on to that whole
Talk about comfortably falling into that 132, 3 tenths.
Oh!
A little bit of a spin there by Pang.
We didn't see that, Pang. We didn't see it.
Yeah, a little acrobatics.
We didn't see it.
Just thinking of switching to
Don't worry, we weren't just switching around and got super lucky and saw you spin.
Right now we're taking a look at Hill out
Hill
there.
here as Hot Hauler today, not Helion.
I like the name.
Hot Hauler?
Yeah, feels fitting for Texas. Holler.
Oh,
maybe that's the theme.
He's the theme. He's the theme driver today.
Yeah, it's on point.
And it's actually because his account got banned for something.
You know what?
Yeah.
It doesn't. No, it's because of the theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're going.
Because he's a hot holler.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we'll give him good luck in Texas. They would love that name.
Yeah.
That's the 52. Good nice round number.
Exactly. That's how many states are in America.
Yeah, there should be more though, but.
Or less. Not if Texas has anything to say about it.
But they're the Lone Stars. So.
That's true.
Don't they want to be alone?
Maybe. Well, our drivers certainly aren't alone out there on the track right now.
We're here at Halion. He's not actually doing a lap, by the way. He's just doing an in-lap. I don't know if any driver... This timing table is just not... it's like pretty far behind for some reason.
Yeah, Sway in the chat pointing out that Pangil is 0.001. That's 1/1000th off 35 seconds.
Just barely.
They are.
Barely eats into the 34s. But
Close shave.
Not bad. It is a close shave.
And I really love now we have everyone put in a time, and it's still less than 6 seconds separating the entirety of the field.
That's not too bad, especially with usually we're pretty heavy on the top end, right? And then we'll get this bigger spread through the bottom.
Certainly.
We have 2 drivers now in the 32s, and they're actually really close together in time.
And our 33s are close.
33s,
our 34s
Kumar,
are pretty close.
Putting a really good lap out there. Has been improving and got his first podium last week. Obviously through penalties, but he was there. And that's really the thing that matters, right? Just gotta be there. Opportunities only happen when you're...
That you do. Yeah. You can't succeed unless you try. We have 2.5 minutes left in quali here. Discounting anything that happens with people out on final laps.
And here we go. We're here with Alex. He's about to do a hot lap. Oh. That looked like a hot... He improved his time. I think he's doing he's doing an actual lap now though, but he did improve his time on that last one.
Yeah.
But I think this is his true lap. So, not sure what happened there, but it doesn't go faster. So I think that tells me this driver should end up in the 34s, maybe even having a chance to touch.
Certainly.
The 33s.
You can see a lot of drivers right now just popped out onto an out lap so that they could get in right before that quali time ends and get that extension of time to put in one last attempt at improving their position. If it were to stay as it stands now, you can see Limp and Miller in 1-2 positions, Renzo in 3, Kumar in 4, Luke in 5, Pangil in 6, Alex in 7, Hill in 8, Sunbeat in 9, and Holton in 10.
Yeah, we're getting that one little thing that, like last time, right? That one driver from a different constructor.
Yeah, the
just
sandwich.
in there, you know?
And it's Kumar
To
again.
mess with it.
It was Kumar
last time, and then it was Pang the week before that one.
And Pang is hanging around there. He's
Pang
like,
is there?
hey, let me get in that sandwich.
He wants to be in that sandwich too.
I don't blame him. We're taking a look at Alex as they're coming around kind of the final little, final turn here. Penultimate final turn. You see them making that final turn, and
comes here, across the line, improves. Goes to 135.093.
Not enough.
I don't think it was what he wanted. Maybe he had a little bit of thingy-jigs happening. We'll see if there is a driver. Man, why is this timing table so off right now? It feels like it's delayed.
It might be the delay, yes. Take a look really quick. Let's see. We're watching Kumar.
We're here with Kumar.
Comes out of Sector 1.
I don't know who's ahead. Let's go to track map. Yeah, I think we're on the furthest ahead driver for a lap.
You know, I
think we are. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of consistency so far.
Yeah.
Out of these qualies, like usually I feel as if there is a little bit more squirreliness, a few drivers having a little bit of maybe trouble keeping everything together on the track. We've seen some more, laps that are not going to be counted. Seen some spinning, some nice gymnastics. We did catch one earlier. That we didn't see. I swear we didn't see it. We'll see as we go into the main race very soon, as everyone should now be on their last lap here.
We have here Luke looking to try to get back up there with the two Ferraris. So doesn't want to leave his teammate alone there.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing him coming across the line. And then we'll just keep jumping back / forward.
Getting fast out there too. Try to final turn. Let's see what time he ends up putting in here.
Comes across the line.
Ooh.
And he goes
fast, but not enough to move a position by hundredths.
Renzo comes across, improves, stays in third. Miller comes across, improves, but still is only in second.
Yeah.
We have we have Limp there. Improves his time, does 132.634.
You know, if everyone just improves a tiny bit, nobody moves position.
You know, I mean, I think a lot of these guys got to that spot on the last lap where it was going to be difficult to improve that time.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they did.
Gosh,
just not by enough to overtake, unfortunately. Yeah. But the one I would say that's consistency, which is what we're looking for, and I think exactly what they're looking for going into the main event here, because consistency at the end of 30 plus laps is what puts you in pole position.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is doing a hot lap anymore. I think that was all of it. I think everybody pushed before the timer ran out.
I believe so.
I don't know if anybody is still out there trying to do a fast lap.
Miller regrets their performance in Sector 2.
What is going on here?
Does not regret their performance in Sector 1 or 3.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays into the race. You know, maybe they're insinuating they could have improved even more on their time, maybe enough to overtake those few.
But with that, we had Limp getting first in qualifying, with Miller close in second, Renzo third, Kumar splitting Luke from the other two, and Luke is next, Pang in sixth, Alex in seventh, Hill in eighth, Sunbeat in ninth, and Hulk in 10th. Not a bad qualifying. We did see Miller actually invalidated on his last lap, so it would have been a little bit closer because he did improve his time, but
certainly
did invalidate that time, so it didn't get posted.
Mm-hmm.
But Limp again gets the pole. Now we'll see if he'll be able to hold that, because this first corner, it's pretty far up. Like, you still get pretty far into it before it matters.
We'll be starting our main event shortly.
Yeah, we are just waiting for it to start.
This is the time where all of our drivers are doing their final finger stretches and
Yeah.
running their eyes over their entirety of their setup to make sure everything's good to go.
Yeah, they're choosing their tire strategies and their fuel load and all that stuff. So I'll ask you, what do you think the odds of a safety car in the for this race?
17.834%.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. Me too. It took me a long time to calculate that number.
I could probably look it up. It wouldn't be too hard to figure out how often.
Don't discount my work.
We should have said, what do you think the odds of it raining in Austin? Because that one would be interesting.
Currently, 0%
guess what
chance at the
happened
moment.
when I went to Austin?
Did it rain?
It rained at night. It didn't actually rain when we were.
I don't think we're going to see any night racing here, judging by the sun. So we might be safe.
We might.
Though you never know. We have seen racing, that's for certain.
We'd have
4% chance of rain right now. And we'll see if that progresses any higher throughout the race.
So not crazy. So we have the drivers on the hards are going to be Limp, Miller, Renzo, Kumar, Luke, Alex, Hill, and Sunby with Pang and Hulk. The only two drivers taking the alternative strat, which I believe the hard into the medium is the better strategy on this track. We saw it in yesterday's race that the drivers who were on the hards, when they went to the mediums, you saw the significant difference in pace. It was really good. But the problem with the hards, obviously, is that the mediums are still going to be really good in the beginning of the race. So it's really going to be how many positions you're going to lose. With only two drivers going on the mediums, this actually might be a really good chance for them both to get some good positions early on in this race.
Yeah, and I think you never really know what was the best strategy until the end, because tire strategy here is going to depend really heavily on if there's a safety car. It will immediately change.
Definitely.
Because all of a sudden, you know, the ability to pit and change out your tires under the safety of less time lost and less position lost is going to pay dividends for anyone who takes the gamble and, you know, puts on a little bit less long-lasting tires.
All right, we can see the classic Miller angle that he likes to take going towards our driver standings leader.
Yeah, that's actually not on purpose. His head naturally leans a little bit to the right.
A little bit, and that's why he thinks it's straight, right?
Yeah, his body. He thinks he's straight. His body has a bit of a lean.
All right, here we go, and we have the 5 lights, and they're off.
And we're off.
That's a pretty good light here. We get a good jump from. Is that Luke from the outside?
Yep.
Gets into P2, and it looks like Ping!
Oh, yeah.
We gotta go backwards. Oh, Pang! I think he bailed out, but because of that, we see Luke actually holds that position. I wonder if anybody took damage from that.
There was certainly contact. Even after that happened, there was contact. You saw it right in the back corner of our view.
And Pang Gil goes all the way to the back, so those mediums now are not gonna. You're not gonna be using them the same as you were before. But we see, looking in the inside here. Oh, sorry, bad cameraman work going on. We have Renzo going past Kumar, and now we have our two constructors fighting it out again for the top positions here. And Renzo's going to be looking to try to get in front of these drivers because they need as many points as possible for both the Drivers' Championship and for the Constructors' Championship.
Yes.
So I think for Limp, he would love to see Renzo get second because most likely if Miller and Luke stay where they are, that Miller will get the position regardless. They're not going to fight because why would you fight the Drivers' Championship? So he's gonna want to get in front of them as fast as possible, because now Miller has a little bit of a cushion because of his teammate.
Certainly.
And he'll get a free attack onto Lynn.
Yeah, and with that lap finish, you see the inaugural first lap ending first place gets fastest lap.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Should see that go to other drivers or even improving it
Certainly.
as the race goes on. And because most of these drivers are on hards and they're going to the mediums, once we see those pits, we're definitely going to see that fastest lap
Yeah,
change.
I mean, Pang had that incident in the beginning and definitely no longer regrets being on mediums in any capacity, because now they have made up the entirety of that 6-second gap, I believe it stretched to, within one and a tiny bit of a lap.
Yeah, and we can see here now, let's actually bring up some of the info. With the position changes, we see the two top drivers didn't move their position, but we had Luke moving up 2, Renzo moving down 1, and Kumar moving down 1.
Yeah, and you see Hulk moving up 3 was the biggest beneficiary of the racing
And we
during
can
that
actually
first
see
lap.
here, to the back, it looks like Sunbee is fighting with Pang. And
Certainly Pang right on the back of Sunbee there.
to go back up to 4.
Sunbee pretty close to being right on the back of Alex. Oh, and you see Pang making his move. Moves up to 9th.
Oh, wait.
Utilizing those mediums.
I thought I was going to see a pass up here, and then it was actually a pass back there.
Yep.
And he's still
Pang
fighting.
not waiting around for anybody.
There's a lot of DRS training going on, and we have the top 1 and 2. They're really close to each other, but we get the front wing.
Even closer now as you see Miller take the fastest lap with a 138.
And DRS is now enabled. Pang actually goes fast as 138.444 or 448.
Nice. Those mediums paying off.
Yeah, and then this is what I was talking about, how it's easy to keep on the back of these drivers. And a virtual safety car comes out for, I think, Sunbee. Maybe he lost the wing. I don't think most of these drivers expected this.
Yeah.
Hopefully they make sure their deltas are low. And this is going to be this is what we're going to want to keep an eye on, right? Is to see if any of these guys get that horrible drive-through for driving too fast. Because they're going to want to keep a good enough gap for when it goes off. But if you go too fast and the virtual safety car triggers and goes off, in your delta, because you get stuck on a delta time that you have to be under, and if you're going too fast,
you want to be penalized for that.
You get penalized. So hopefully none of these drivers get that.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, you don't want those penalties on this track, because those, especially on this track, are going to make a large difference at the end of the race.
Yeah, we can see besides the Sunbee had an incident, but you can see that all of the drivers are together.
Yeah.
There's a few little spots where there's little patches of gap, but in general, they're all still really packed in here together. And I think it'll stay that way. We'll get maybe, I think, 3-ish DRS trains or groups of fighting.
It was good we didn't see any...
Yeah, we didn't see a drive-through, so that was good.
Problems.
But you can see here Pang now on the attack again. And he's looking to attack, and he gets past Alex. And now he's going to be looking to get past Hulk, who is also on the same tire compound.
Yeah,
so that's something we'll have to keep in mind.
Pang actually managed to pass Alex before that virtual safety car came out. But now is given free reign to continue moving up the field on those mediums. But this will be the largest contention for a while with Pang, because now he's facing another driver on the same tires as he is.
Yeah, so we'll see if he's going to be able to pass him quickly or not, right?
Yep.
We see here, it looks like Miller on the back of Limp again. We're going to have to keep an eye on that.
Certainly.
With all these drivers kind of
right
really close. Like, there's so many drivers that are close together.
Yeah, and even Renzo managed to stay right on the back of Luke as well.
I think one of the benefits of sticking with more of the front side is we could kind of still see the guys in the back.
And Pang moves into 7th, passing Hulk. Those even mediums there didn't seem to pose too much of a problem for them.
He actually got it before that long straight.
Yeah, wow. Some impressive driving. We've seen some drivers in the past have some bad positioning towards the beginning of the race and just be consistent from then on and move up, and maybe that's shadows of what we're going to see today here.
Yeah, and then we're going to want to keep an eye on Luke now. He's starting to lose the gap on the 1 and 2.
Certainly, you can see Renzo maintaining that 3-4 gap there right on the back of Luke. Miller losing a tiny bit of time on Limpo. Right now we're taking a look, watching our lead driver up there from Miller's point of view. Now we move back through the field.
Yeah, now we're here with Renzo, who's looking to attack now onto the McLaren, but because he keeps getting the DRS from his teammate, and this is going to be crucial right here because it looks like he actually has too big of a gap.
Oh no!
Oh, and we're getting
2
warnings right at one after another.
2 in a row, 3-second penalties.
So Kumar takes one and Sunby takes one. Kumar's a little bit more hurt. It hurts a little bit more than
certainly
Sunby because of their position right now.
Yes. But again, all that can change within a lap.
Yeah.
We can see Pang now facing a larger gap. It was 3 seconds. Managed to take it now to just over 2. We'll see if Pang can manage to continue closing that gap and continue the trend that we've seen so far. You can see the trends that we've seen so far in the 1 through 4 are kind of holding, with the exception of Miller is losing some time on
Limp. I noticed that too.
Slowly but surely. And even Luke is seeing maybe just the tiniest bit more separation between his teammate and himself.
I know it's early in the race. But,
certainly.
So if you get 25 for first and 18 for second.
Yes.
And then you can maybe just say he gets 1996 or the other way. So we can get it to where it's just a point difference, and Pang goes even faster.
Yeah, you saw Limp set a fastest and then immediately overtaken by Pang.
So it is possible to go into the final race with just a single point separating them.
Certainly.
So that's something to keep in mind, and I think that's something that even the teammates of both those drivers of Miller and are gonna want to keep an eye on.
You can see Limp really putting some separation between himself and the rest of the pack, just slowly but consistently. Renzo's maintaining pace with Luke, but Luke's losing ground on Miller, now over 1.5 seconds behind his teammate. You can see the rest of the field is maintaining their distance. Pang has made up another 1.5 seconds, now closing in on Hill to attempt to continue their journey of overtakes.
Definitely. It looked like you want to keep an eye on him when he gets closer to the next DRS zone. I think that might be where he's going to attack. But you can see that pace in the mediums exist. Because after his incident that happened, he's now been able to get one position away from where he originally started.
Certainly.
Again.
And Pang has shown a propensity so far for some non-traditional overtakes too, kind of preempting our expectations for where we think the overtake is going to occur, only to find ourselves seeing it happen already.
And we can see there,
man, another
Miller goes fastest, actually.
Yeah, and it goes fastest, but another time where you have 2 people cross the finish line and both put in fastest laps, one right after the other.
And we see here now, Pang tries to go on the outside. Maybe he's going to do the over-under. He does.
Yeah.
And because of that grip from the medium tires, he gets out of it faster and does get the pass off.
Certainly now has got some work to do. Oh no!
And we got the spin cam.
Renzo had been so consistently behind Luke, staying right with him, and now Kumar moves back into that sandwich.
I either jinxed him or I didn't jinx him. I don't know. But either way, because of that push lap that Miller did, he's actually less than a second. Not just less than a second. He's actually in attack distance.
I think maybe Miller hurt us.
And he doesn't choose to attack yet. I mean, there's a lot of race left.
But that's where you want to be.
That is where you want to be. But we can see Hill is actually... No, it looks like he lost that gap. So.
And I think this race, you know, barring anything crazy that happens from now on, obviously, this race is turning into kind of a two-man race at the front. You can see Miller very close.
Yeah, he's very close. I think these two have just shown that little bit extra. I think a lot of these drivers are close enough to them. We saw it in quali where they're not too far off from their time. But then when you come into the race, these two have shown incredibly high pace, and it's been very difficult for a lot of these other drivers to keep up.
Yeah, and the most important part is the thing that they always show, the consistency.
Consistency,
yeah. Where it gets you. And you can see Pang making up a lot of ground to move from 4.5 seconds back to 1.4 seconds back, just within a lap and a half there. Really closing ground fast now on Renzo, who was, you know, up until very recently right at the top of our field. You can see Pang now going to be looking to move into kind of some of the more consistent racers throughout the race. And let's see how they end up doing when they come up against that consistency.
Yeah, we can see here. I don't know if Miller is going to be trying to attack. I think he's just happy where he is. Now that he saw that, he's had to have noticed that Renzo has now dropped back from one position.
Certainly. You know, that defense in the constructors is all Ferrari need, or all McLaren needs too, to kind of hold off Ferrari there, is you can accept an individual finish from one of the teammates that's higher than yours, but if the other one has lost a little bit of ground, you know, you can feel that comfort in your soul.
Took a look.
Yep. I don't see any books though.
No.
Or rainbows. You can see Miller though right on the tail of Limp, just sometimes hundredths of seconds away. Yeah, we did. With Arbor and his goat.
He is the goat.
Right now, you can see, you know, Miller hesitant to move in front or make a move on Limp, but really keeping good position here. Throughout the rest of the field, you can see Pang, you know, not closing quite as fast as they were before, but still consistently closing.
Right
now
there,
within a second, gonna be right there, moving in on half a second, gonna be looking to make a move.
Oh, Miller is pressuring Limp right now.
Lots of pressure.
That is so close. Oh man, he could probably hear the gear shifting and the other guys get so close. Oh man, I anytime I even get that close to the other car when I'm driving, I just mess up.
Yeah. Thankfully, nobody's breaking.
I don't know how they do it. Oops. My fingers on two positions.
Now you can see.
No, it looks like it looked like he kind of got annoyed and just kind of pushed himself a little bit further away. Looking at the open flap.
You can see Pang within half a second.
Not quite there, but it looks like, man, Miller he's trying to get him to make a mistake. Oh, and they both had a moment together.
They did. They had their moment. Might not have been quite the same as when other people have moments together. But
you know what the key though is here? I think Miller has been fighting him a little bit because look at where Luke is.
That's true. That's true.
He's under second. He's back with them, and this is all they need.
Yeah, and that fight really did bring his teammate right back into position there. And he needs to get within you know, a decent range of Miller there because he wants to be able to take advantage of his teammate when he can.
Definitely.
You know what? Pang did not make the pass. Renzo pit.
Renzo pit is what.
Holt manages to take a penalty there. Not going to mean a lot for him at this particular time, but will
Miller takes a look.
Ooh, yep, there he goes.
And he actually tries to. They're going through the corners here.
He does. Yeah.
They're coming up to turn 11 here. He has the pass, but was he going to hold it through this DRS zone? I believe Limp should have DRS.
Well, and I think he waited.
But look at that. He is pushing.
He waited until his teammate would be close enough to take advantage of being close enough behind Limp after the pass. But Limp looking to make a move.
He's looking into turn 12.
And does he hold it though?
Now they're still side by side, coming in through corner 13 and 14.
That is some fighting. Miller manages.
Yes, they are. They're still side by side. Miller goes wide. He's going to do the over-under. Oh, he's not going to do it. And he actually concedes the position, but I don't think that's the last of it.
Yeah, that fighting didn't have...
How is he that close to him right now?
Oh my gosh.
That's in like desync territory right there.
Man, that's
You get it? Oh my gosh. I couldn't tell the difference between the front of that car and the back of the other car. It was so close. And here he goes. Zozu to turn 1, takes the position here. And we have ourselves a little bit of side-by-side. You see their limp getting a little bit... losing it a little bit. I think he's just trying to put it down too early. Because this fighting has caused... Luke is actually...
Yeah, Luke's actually lost
time to them.
Which was surprising. Oh no, Kumar picks up
Kumar
3
takes
seconds.
another one.
That is not great. I believe that's 6 seconds now for Kumar. That's not a great position considering where he is in such a great position.
This is definitely setting up Pang for a really good chance at that position.
I mean, Pang is looking gorgeous right now as they're coming through and just shy of 1.5 second delta as we come into the final sector shortly for this group of racers. You can see Limp now losing just a little bit of time on Miller. Not much, still in contention here, just above half a second behind Miller. But you can see Luke continuing to lose a little bit of ground now between 1.5 to 2 second delta. Kumar sitting around 3 seconds behind Luke, and Pang slowly climbing, and quickly climbing actually. All of a sudden just jumped from 1.6 to 1.1.
Yeah, so there's the one thing we do have to keep in mind is that Pang is on the faster tire. Right?
Certainly.
He's on the mediums. This is a little bit faster, slick compound. Miller goes even faster with 1.6.955, which means everything he does now, he's going to be losing later to all these guys at the front.
Yes, barring any craziness that happens.
Yes. So
if the tire strategies stand, that would be
what he wants to do is be in Kumar's, get past Kumar, try to make up some gap because he will be losing some when they switch.
Also, you know, Pang has shown a propensity for success so far in moving up the field and proliferated that strategy to the others at the back of the field, as now instead of 2 drivers out on mediums, you see 4.
Oh.
There we go. Fastest lap from Renzo. That's the first thing that goes through his mind is that's what I'm talking about. Because was doing very consistent until some unfortunate things left them significantly farther back than they wanted to be. It will be interesting to see if he builds on that and manages to move up the field as we go on. But we have some Hulk fans in our chat right now.
Hulk
Thank
smash.
you.
Yeah.
Hulk smash.
We have a Hulk fan out here.
You can see Pang now moved into...
He actually moves past Kumar.
That was a lot of time fairly quickly. It does make me wonder if Kumar might have made a mistake, but because they're not losing ground on Pang, I think maybe not. And, you know, Kumar looking to be like, hey, that's my position.
I think Pang is just making up for that mistake he made at the beginning of the race. I think he got a little over ambitious, and I think he got punished for it himself. He kind of punished himself and almost hurt other drivers through it, but
you know, if you
has made up for it with an amazing drive.
You can use that as fuel for your own focus, and I think that's kind of what we've seen here, because we have seen some great racing out of Pang move up from 10th to 4th after that first lap.
And honestly, with the pace he's been showing on those mediums, depending on how fast the other drivers are on those mediums, he could have easily, without having that early incident, he could have easily been fighting with Luke.
Certainly.
But because he had that incident, now he's on lap 13, just barely now going to have a chance to get onto the back of them.
Yeah.
So it seems a little bit far out of reach at this moment when they do the pitch strategy, and he'll start losing space against them instead of gaining. But I think he's done a really good job at recovering from where he was at before.
Certainly, it'll be interesting to see his strategy. You know, another penalty this
And
time
that's
for
two,
Renzo.
right?
We
For
just
Renzo. It is two for Renzo.
and we saw another one for Hulk just a minute ago too.
Oh no, Renzo only has one.
Renzo has one, I believe.
I was looking
Hulk
at
has
Hulk.
two.
Oh no, Sunbeam is the two. Oh no, it was Hulk.
Yeah, Hulk as well. It'll be interesting to see how those play out through the rest of the race.
Yeah.
Like we were saying earlier, Kumar, if he manages to maintain around where he is going to be hurt by these penalties as we come to
So this isn't looking too good for Limp. I wonder if he's going to have a better medium pace. So that's the thing I'm curious about, because I know some of these drivers, they have preferences, right? So like they're a little bit quicker.
There we go. And goes into the pits.
Like maybe their setup's designed for a specific compound of tires, so maybe it's more for the hard or more for the medium.
And you can see Pang almost certainly going to be coming out on these hards. Hoping not to lose too much time here.
Yeah, he's going to be coming out here. Sway's going to be really close, but I think he'll barely get it.
Yeah, and the thing I would say about Pang too is I'm not going to chalk all of that up to mediums. That was also just tenacity and talent.
It was outright good pace. So like, that's what I was saying. I think he could have easily been fighting with...
Yeah, and while the pace can't necessarily be maintained on these tires, the tenacity can, and that's what will matter.
The one good thing for Pang now too is he got to really push those mediums, so he got to get this really good pace. Now that he's on these hards and the car's a little bit lighter, he can treat them even worse. He can drive them a little harder through the corners, make up some of that hard pace that you're losing.
Certainly.
And you don't have to worry about deg, where the drivers that are switching onto the mediums are going to be looking to avoid that.
Certainly.
But I mean, they'll be kind of in the same position, right? I think these drivers are going to wait until around 18 or so, maybe at 16. I think 16 was a good time for all these drivers to pit that are on the hard compounds. And I think that's what we'll see again today. They'll kind of come in around lap 16. And you know, it doesn't seem like a safety car will be coming out, so
yeah, I mean, you saw Pang put in a good 14 laps.
Look at this, it's just a bit overcast, right?
Yeah, now it is, and we're seeing that chance of rain climb 20%. Oh man.
Hey, all I'm saying is if this happens, this is definitely a Champions Division thing. The rain just like exists in this division.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think
near the end of this race,
this is gonna get interesting because you're gonna have a lot of people pit soon to come out on mediums because you saw the consistency from Pang for a full 14 laps. Now with only 13 to go, there's no harm in knowing that you can trust them for that long. So going in, coming out, getting as many laps as you can on your faster tire to really kind of try and make up some ground for you. We'll see how that rising dew point blends into things here.
And Sunbeam takes a penalty, and the Alfa Romeo team getting more penalties than points today.
Lots of penalties, you know. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We can see Limp managing to actually gain a little bit of time back from a 2-second delta, now 1.5. Luke, unfortunately, does not follow the same trend. Instead, goes the other way now, 4 seconds behind Limp. You can see the field spreading a bit more now, and you're only going to see that exacerbated with pitting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what their paces are going to be on the mediums, because it's going to definitely change. We won't know until they go onto those what their true pace is on the mediums.
I think you're going to see, you know, obviously you're going to see Pang benefit, and you're going to see Hulk benefit very imminently here from some pits from the rest of the field. I don't know that it will be enough to really move much, especially not in Hulk's case, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, I will say, so with the pace that Kumar and Hill are doing, Pang is going to definitely be in front of them, both. And it's really on if he's going to end up, or they're going to be able to catch him.
How defensive he can be on those hards.
Another thing we're going to want to keep an eye on is, it looked like Renzo actually passed Alex there. And is going to be looking for Pang. So Pang is this next target to try to pass. And if the rain does come in when everybody has to pit, this is actually going to help a driver like Renzo, who had to pit early for his medium tires. So now he's running on the mediums. He can, maybe he's trying to conserve right now, but rain would definitely help him.
Certainly. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting. There's not a lot of time left in the race. You know, now where there's only 11 laps left. So, you know, you're going to see that end up coming out to be around, 15 minutes, maybe slightly longer, slightly shorter, depending on how quick some of our drivers are, and also, obviously, anything unforeseen. We'll see exactly how the rain ends up playing in, or even if it ends up getting here at all before this race finishes.
I mean, it's definitely cloudy. That's for
cloudy.
Sure. We were being blinded in quali. It was actually, it didn't look overcast at all from
Not
what I
in the
remember
least.
in the beginning of this race.
No.
But now that we get further in, I wonder if these drivers, if they're waiting to see if rain comes down.
I think they have to be. They have to be, because
why would they be still out?
You'd be putting on laps on old hards when you know that you could put on a faster tire and it would be just fine.
You can go onto the mediums easily.
And they could have done it laps ago. So I really think they're doing exactly what you said, which could be the smart move.
Yeah, they might be just trying to wait it out.
You can see Limp still managing to kind of
keeping him honest.
Inch closer.
Yeah, I think it's that keeping him honest pace. So the driver in the front is gonna look to not have him on DRS. And sometimes you can't really do that, be in DRS the whole time. But I think Limp's doing a really good job at staying near. Near him.
You see Luke now going to the pit. Maybe we'll start to see some of these drivers get a little tired of staying out on old hards.
I can't tell if that. So that is. I couldn't tell if that was just the screen. It might. I think this might be a tad early. This might be a tad early for it. I know there's rain coming down, but you got to remember the track temperature is still 24 degrees Celsius, so it's still pretty warm.
Certainly. And a question for any viewers of ours who might not be quite as in the know: comparison in dry conditions between intermediates and hard. How would you say the pace is?
I mean, when it is raining, it's like a good 10 seconds. But if he's on inters and the softs are still good, like he's going to be losing a significant amount of time. They're significantly different when you're going onto the intermediates when it's still slick conditions.
You can see that.
So we'll keep an eye on it. It is going up, and this race is going to end under that. And that's what all these drivers have been doing. That's why these hard drivers have not pit. It's because they are trying to just get into when it's fully raining conditions so they can just do one pit. We see, okay, here we go. Limp goes in. He's following, I think that's back marker. Goes onto the inters.
Yep.
So I guess he's trying to hope that it is wet enough that he's gonna benefit from it.
Certainly.
But this just helps Miller more if it isn't the time yet to go on to
that. It does. I do think not the worst strategy from Limp, considering how quickly that chance of rain is starting to rise.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen it in a track like when we were watching Baku. They went from a dry condition with no rain into it was just downpouring. Everybody had to switch to wets. They skipped the whole inter part. They just went straight to wets. That's how bad or how quickly the rain can come down.
Certainly.
But it doesn't seem to be that case for us. It does seem like it's going to be a slow burn into it.
Yes. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to see whoever ends up coming out on top. The one thing I can guarantee they're going to be doing We're gonna be
dancing, and it looks like Hulk here. So half the grid has accepted their fate,
Certainly.
and they're like, it is interweather. So we can see because it is interweather, we saw Pang actually losing the position to Hill.
Will we see Miller come in now? We will not.
And he stays out again for one more lap here. This is okay, so this might be the spot where you might be compromising yourself, depending on how fast it gets wet, right?
Yeah.
That's key.
Well, that and 19 lap old hards are not going to be quite.
Yeah, they're not going to be hard. But Kumar, okay, so Kumar does respond. I think he's done. He's like, I'm done. I'm done driving slicks on when it's raining.
Yeah.
And he does come in.
And you're starting to see a little bit on that driver's visor view some sprinkles.
And we're seeing the benefits right now. Renzo's trying to stay out as long as possible so that when he does pit, he doesn't lose as many positions.
Yes.
But we have here...
We'll see exactly how that shakes up.
And it looks like Miller still has the gap. I wonder if he's gapping him. Let's look at... Since we know the pace in which this... It doesn't seem like it's changing in this pace of how wet it's getting. So let's look at these timings, right? So Miller is still doing a 1:38. That's what he did on his last lap. But he has a... Everybody's doing 144s. 144, 144, 143. 142 is 2 laps on inters, so that's a good indicator that I think it's still technically... We're getting there. We're definitely close to the crossover, right? You can see 38 to a 32. That's very close. So we are near the crossover. And DRS is now disabled. I expect him to pit now.
Miller pit.
And he does. I think he timed it the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. I think he's perfectly timed his pit. DRS got disabled. He's going to be on the freshest inters, coming out on them when it's the wettest that you could possibly come out on them without risking it becoming too wet. Because that's the one problem with slicks, right? Your slicks are good in the rain until they're not. And then they're really bad. Yes. They kind of just go off of a cliff. It's not really... You can usually function with them, and then you can't function with them. And we can see that has happened. We have now actually a good one is... Okay, Renzo does come in. And Renzo's going to lose the position to both Hill and to Pangil. And Pangil is now on the back of Ilian, trying to get that position back because he did do the early pit. And then they both kind of just pit together when it rained. Which Pang had to go into the pit because he went onto the medium strategy. So it was a little bit of a miss strategy. And that's probably why a lot of those drivers did choose to go on the hards. They might have saw that there's potential for rain at the end of this race.
Exactly.
And it did come up, so...
you can see now our field settling down. Everyone out there on most likely what is their final set of tires. You can kind of see how it shakes out now that everyone is out of the pits. You can see Pang, we're watching them try and get enough position to overtake Hill in 5th. No one else really that close to anybody else. Yeah. Renzo is 1.5 seconds outside of 7th with outside of 7th position, who is Alex at the moment. We'll see if that changes. You can see, Pang right on them almost.
The problem now, though, unlike before, is it's raining now. It's going to be a lot harder. Yes. When you go offline, it's going to be harder to pass.
No tire difference.
And you don't get the benefits of DRS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's going to have to struggle with... I think it's going to be a lot harder.
It's going to be harder to move up the field.
Position is going to be stronger.
Not only is it going to be harder to move up the field, but even if this works out in their favor between the two of them, that is a large gap between 4 and 5.
Definitely. 4 has benefited, so Kumar has benefited a lot from his strategy. Staying out pretty much almost as long as Miller, going in right at the right time, or similar time.
That strategy was a great one, because look at the gap Miller has managed to put in front of the limb.
I
Huge
think
gap.
Limp might have made a mistake because I thought they were a lot closer than that.
It's always a possibility.
But it's definitely, yeah, 14 seconds. It's looking a little bit out of the reach. And that's an uncommon one because Limp has been pretty solid when it came to the rain.
I did see a race a few seasons, or last season, I believe, where there was one track where Limp showed a little bit of struggle in the rain, but other than that, I think consistency.
He's been consistently pretty. You're talking about Hungary.
I believe so.
This season. Hungary, he bottled it. But we have here now Renzo getting past Alex. Should be able to hold it since there is no DRS through the front or the back straight. So it'll be even harder to get past the driver now that has successfully passed you.
Seriously, yeah, definitely. You can see, Renzo managing to overtake Alex. Peng dropping back a little bit in position, struggling to overtake Hill. Peng losing about a second from where they were. You can see Limp hit to go onto mediums. Not 100% sure how that'll work out, but we'll see. %.
That's gotta. What?
As Hulk picks up another.
That's gotta be incorrect.
Speaking of Hulk, we still have our large Hulk fan in the chat. Unfortunately, and you see a little squirreliness already.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think he just wanted to dance a little.
Yeah, I don't know why he's on mediums. I don't know if there's an error.
Something's going on.
This cannot be good.
Not gonna be great for Limp, as you see Limp now with that pit and the mediums losing some pace and losing some traction on the track and losing time as a result.
Yeah, losing a lot. I don't know what happened there. But we can see now Peng and Hill are right behind him.
It's going to be interesting to see how that affects things. As you can see,
Peng's trying to take a look there, but he doesn't. He's not able to. Oh, okay. And that looked like it actually screwed up the Mercedes, and luckily nothing happened there.
Yeah.
But now he drops into now 6th.
We got 4 more laps to go too.
With 4 more laps to go, I would expect him to come in for a pit. I feel like he was trying to go into the wets.
Now, my question is, there's 4 laps to go.
Yep.
What is penalty between Hill and Hill?
That's a good question because I think he has a few 3-second difference, and you can see there Peng actually has that gap of 3 seconds. So really, he shouldn't try to fight Hill. Maybe help him just get pushed through. So Limp does just go back onto inters and not go onto the wets. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
definitely the wrong play.
Something happened. Something most likely unintentional on their part. But we will find out, I am sure, after the race.
Yeah, but this is really going to hurt them in
that it
both
is. As you can see now,
constructors
Renzo
and drivers, yeah.
Renzo is our highest position for that Ferrari team.
And because Jonas is not in this race, I believe Luke is actually going to jump him in the driver standings as well.
Very possible, and especially because barring any major incidents, that's looking like exactly where he's going to finish. 23-second gap. Uh-oh. Oh, no. That's a shame.
And Kumar takes another penalty here, and now it comes down to, do we continue to both fight each other? Because there's a driver you both can get past instead if you just work together now.
Well, and Peng moved in front of Hill.
Peng has moved in front of Hill, so maybe they do. And now we're the only real position we're looking at the moment is going to be this crucial podium position.
Yeah, that 3 is getting in contention here as we pick up more penalties with people and gaps. close.
So the thing is Peng does have to make up a good amount.
7 seconds at least.
But I think it's doable.
It is doable. 3 laps left.
As long as you keep your penalties down and don't get an actual penalty yourself, maybe Kumar gets one from you pressuring him. So I think that's the thing. I think the key is that he needs to keep making that time go down.
Certainly.
Because then Kumar's gonna feel it. He's gonna realize that he's making that time up. He's gonna try to go faster. Maybe gets another penalty, and then you have a shot.
Alex is looking to fight for 6th with Renzo, as Renzo has 3 more seconds in penalties. He needs to make up a couple of seconds in these last laps in order to move into 6th position. Of course, you know, and all these are going to be barring anything funky that we might not have caught or that might not have been taken into account yet after the race, similar as to what happened with the last race. But barring that, we shall have standings as what we see now, with now moving into lap 26. That means there's only 3 left, 26, 27, and 28. We will see how those 3 play out on this rainy afternoon in a virtual Austin. Now is when the cowboy hats come in handy.
Yeah, I can't believe it rained here, but this is the Champions Division, and we got rain in Baku. Why wouldn't we get rain in Austin?
Certainly.
Apparently, if it's a desert track, we're gonna get rain on it. Yeah, so Hulk goes onto the wets, which isn't a surprise. Like 83, I could see maybe that this actually faster. We have no idea. So another crucial thing is the fastest lap is still being held by Renzo, and because of the state of the track,
it's gonna be Renzo.
I don't think that's gonna get beaten.
Yeah, we have a 1:36.425 as fastest lap right now from Renzo.
Yeah.
And there's no way that's beaten in these conditions. It's just going to be, you know, too much to overcome no matter the caliber of driver. Can't make up for impossibilities. We have our driver of the day poll. So we'll get that active here and make sure to vote for whoever you think has been driver of the day. We'll have results from that after the race.
Yeah.
Going to be interesting, you know, not a lot of close racing in terms of the deltas, but a lot of close racing in terms of gaps and penalties. Yeah. However, though, I would say that we haven't seen Peng make up enough ground yet on Kumar, and, you know, Hill has lost some ground as well.
He has to essentially get under 9 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't believe that's going to be easy.
Not with the cut like that.
It's not going to be easy now picking up that. I think that pretty much rules out an overtake unless something really problematic happens. He'll pick him another penalty.
He needs Kumar to also take another penalty, but I don't see that happening with the time left.
With only 2 laps left, I think he would need multiple penalties more.
Yeah.
In order to successfully overtake. And I don't think that'll happen. Not that there's anything shameful about finishing in 4th, especially after an incident at the beginning puts you in 10th. That is still very impressive. It'll be just a few short laps here until we know the final tally of the race.
Another one.
Yeah, another penalty goes out onto the field, but the thing you'll notice is that our 2 top drivers have not only been consistent in their times, they've been consistent in their lack of penalties.
Yeah, Miller's doing the two lap celebration.
Yeah, certainly. That is going to mean some heavy separation for constructors too, considering where the field is. It's going to mean some heavy separation for the individual.
Yeah, and if it stays this way, we're going to get another McLaren 1-2 races in a row.
That we will.
Which is not good when you think of Constructors' Championship battle.
It's going to make it difficult. Not impossible, but difficult.
And honestly, with the gap they already had of 41, this actually might
make it
be enough.
Yeah, certainly, because the max you can earn on this is, keep in mind, too, we have to take into account...
that it's a sprint.
The sprint as well. So we'll have to see how that plays in.
But we'll do the calculations. It might actually be too much.
It might be too much, especially depending on how the sprint plays out here.
Yeah. But they do have to still get to the end. Anything could happen. There is, there's a big gap for both Miller and Luke. But the positions of Renzo and Limp, like they could still gain a few more positions that would stop them from losing the constructors immediately.
Certainly.
But definitely this is gonna hurt Limp in the drivers with only only a 6-point gap is now gonna be increased.
Yeah.
Because he was in P2, it was only gonna increase a little bit, but now it's looking like it might increase.
Certainly, and now you can see most of our drivers are out there on their final lap, with a few coming into it any minute now. You can see we're taking a look at Miller as they're about ready to take the final turn before the final section, or for the final sector, I should say.
Yep.
And we'll see them move into the final sector of their final lap and, go through these turns here feeling pretty confident. Confident enough to throw in some celebration, which has moved their teammate up 13 seconds closer during these last 2 laps to them. But, that doesn't really matter when your gap is large and when the person right behind you is your teammate.
Yeah. It's always nice when it's your teammate behind you.
Certainly.
The pressure's a lot lower.
Yeah.
As we can see, he's significantly shrunken that gap.
Yeah, and Luke also really has no worries as the teammate, considering that, it may only be maybe a 12-second delta, so maybe something happens, but also 9 seconds in penalty separation between them and the position behind them.
But we have here Miller coming across the line, extends his gap between him and Limp, and gets his 6th win of the season
in the individual and adds to the constructors. Luke comes across the line now too, 7 seconds behind Miller.
Gets second, his second of the season.
And
Kumar gets third.
Solidifying third,
getting his second consecutive podium. And his second consecutive
podium. Pengil coming across in 4th. Impressive considering what happened at the beginning of that race. Solid driving.
We have here, Pengil comes in, gets 4th, good job. Hill comes in to 5th, a solid drive from Hill too. I think he was in there. I think pit at the right time.
Certainly.
I think Alex kind of did the same. You're just driving your race. Your pace wasn't there today, but I think they minimized their mistakes. And we have here Limp testing out the little brake boards.
Oh no, Sunbeams with a DNF. Unfortunately. Right during the last lap.
Yeah, but
it's unfortunate.
But it's okay. He'll still get that position.
Yes.
And we are here.
See some.
I think Hulk was lapped, so I think he's already done.
That is definite.
Who do you think they gave driver of the day to?
Ooh, I think maybe it could have been. I was impressed, obviously, with what happened at the top of the field, except for the fact that some of that contention that's normally there was lessened by the fact that we saw some other mistakes and things go on from those general contenders. So I think could have been at the top of the field, could have also been Petty. I think you saw the amount that they moved up the field, and the moves they managed to make was very impressive. Impressive throughout the consistency through the whole race.
I think if he was able to get that 3rd position, I think it would have been without a doubt. But I think because he didn't quite get it.
There's only slight doubt now.
I think it's going to be Luke from the game. Oh, it is Pang.
It is Pang now.
Nice. He gets it from the game, and I'm curious if he'll get it from our voting.
Yeah, we shall find out in
but we'll
just
find out right
while.
after the podium, which this is Miller's 6th win of the season. It's his 3rd consecutive win.
Certainly.
And he extends his gap even greater.
Yeah, making sure it takes great care to get that wreath some nice water out here. I wouldn't want to dry it out on anyone. See, maybe he'll hold his cup up, take a nice sip of refreshing.
And it's nice to see a Red Bull up there again. You know, I think Kumar has shown a really good job in the second half of this season and has gotten 2 podiums now.
Certainly, as our drivers take at least their second shower of the day. This one's a little stickier than others. And there we see it. Now, I can't say for certain that the point gap is unable to be overcome for the constructors because we still have some racing to go, but it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, but our finishing order is gonna be
Miller, Luke, Kumar, Pango, Hill, Renzo, Alex, Lim, Sunby with the DNF, and Ulk.
Well, Sunby is still gonna get is a normal position because
Sunby in 9th.
Yeah, he would have just been. He's a lap car, essentially. Yeah.
Well,
that was a good race.
Interesting race.
I think the funny thing is, you know, people are like, "Oh, the rain, it's gonna make it more interesting." I think this was one of the tracks where it made it a little interesting, but then it was less interesting.
Yes.
Because when people got close, it was just it wasn't easy to do anything when you got there because it was just wet.
Sunby saying they DNF'd on that last corner. Sad. Agreed, but
you still got your 9th.
Happened. Still got your position.
Yeah.
Next time, you know, be looking to move up the field, certainly.
But I think overall, the race was really good. There was a lot of action in the beginning. The drivers were able to fight together. And like I said in the beginning, before we actually started the race, what was the biggest difference? The mistakes.
Yeah. Always.
And we saw Renzo literally when he had that mistake that he did. He spent the entire rest of the race trying to make that up. Certainly. And he was able to get there. He was able to make up a bunch of places, but it was just too big. Like that one mistake that he made.
It
cost him so much. And that's why I thought mistakes was a thing. And our poll actually finished, and our driver of the day
was Miller. Overtaking 2 votes for Pang. 32% of the votes for Pang. Miller was 67%.
I think that makes sense. I think because of how solid Miller's drive was, he didn't get the pole, but he was able to. Well, he raced Limp and was able to get the position before Limp had those mistakes happen.
Certainly.
So he did win the position on track before it, and I think I would have been more inclined for Pang getting it if he was able to just get that podium spot. He had that chance. He made a few little errors. But I understood why, because he was pushing hard. He was trying to catch Kumar. Kumar was doing the same. He was pushing like really hard. Yeah. And it was just a little bit too far away, right? That gap was just a little
too far.
But Pang did do all that with hitting twice.
Yeah.
Which is impressive.
Hit twice,
almost binned it through the first corner with another driver, but they somehow came out of that okay.
Pang says he was trying very hard. I think
we could tell.
We could tell, but also it says a lot to try hard, but to maintain focus while you're feeling that pressure and to not, you know, risk something that ends up not coming out on your favor and ending up even further behind. Just consistency there was impressive.
Definitely. I think their ability to really just keep your head down after that mistake that happened through the first corner. And yeah, luckily it didn't look like anybody really took any damage through it. It was more of like a miss mark into trying to avoid. He looked like he was purposely trying to avoid all the drivers, and he actually yielded, and that's why he lost so many positions, because he was letting all the drivers go through to make sure he didn't take positions unfairly. But because of that, I think there was just a little bit too much to compete with Miller's just solid drive. Again, getting his 3rd consecutive race victory.
Extremely solid. Both McLaren drivers extremely solid. All race.
Yep. So he extends it. We'll have to check the points on the constructor side.
Yeah,
But I think it's pretty close to a done deal with the securing of that one.
certainly. And Kumar,
Um,
also put in a really solid race. Ended up on the podium
Yeah.
second time in a row here.
Yeah, and
Um,
he pushed his team up to, I believe, fourth in the constructors. So
Yeah, which is when you really start seeing some
Yeah.
of that closeness. So those points really mean a lot because
Yeah.
they go extra far in moving you places or maintaining your place.
yeah, but our final race is gonna be next week on May 6th for the Champions Division, and it'll be actually May 5th for the Legends Division.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be able to be here,
Yeah,
but you will at least have
it's okay.
your stinky here.
I'll
on
be
somewhere.
here, and we'll find who. I don't know who will be with me, but
Yeah, we'll
I'll
find
be
someone.
here. Yeah.
Someone.
Do you want to do the outro?
As always, we have to give a quick shout out to our partners over at Sim Coaches. If you want to be like our first place driver, our podium finisher, Miller, check out Sim Coaches at simcoaches.com to get some sick pedals. And you know what they also have?
What do they have?
They have a wheel. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I saw it. It's pretty good.
And would you like to start your digital adventure, sir?
I would.
Oh, well, if that's the case, check out Zinx at xinx.digital. They did a lot of our marketing and the logos, the beautiful the couleurs, the film. Anyway, also, do you like podcasts?
Yes, certainly.
You're a fan of them?
Yeah.
Well,
Especially
if
the
that's the
casting.
case, you should check out
BS Talk with Irvin Cam.
at all the platform. What platforms are they on?
Oh, all of them.
All of the platforms. And there's two other quick shout outs. Do you know what those are? I do. It's okay. That's okay. You go check out Wolfpack Performance because he's a buddy of ours. He does a lot of cool things. That's Wolfpack Performance on YouTube. A lot of good F1 rants, a lot of good things. And one of our racers, Pang. Pang is also a fan. Go check him out. He's got a Twitch.
He's got a Twitch. He streams some looter based style games, and he does F1 every now and then.
Certainly.
So yeah, you can look at him on Twitch at Pang12. Oh no. and but how about you also look at ours? We have a YouTube. Go look at our YouTube at Delta Zero.
And if you're interested in the league and other stuff, check out deltazeroproduction.com.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah. And come join us on our Discord and talk F1, talk league racing, talk all kinds
Rocket
of
League
stuff.
and Wreckfest and
Yeah,
Minecraft.
anything. We're just like a community that really enjoys gaming. We're a gaming community. So
Certainly.
yeah, come join us. But also come join us for the finale in Brazil. It's going to be a sprint GP. I was your host, Stinky Juan. I was here with middle name Orion with a little bit of an appearance from Iverzim.
YOLO. Goodbye.
And on that note, I'll see you all next time.
Bye.